This team is too funny, man. I'll admit, even though I probably shouldn't because it makes me look like a fair weather fan, but I almost turned this game off when the Bulls were down 22-1. My wife walked by right at that moment and asked, "Is that really the score?" And I said, "Yeah," and I was about to shut it off. And I haven't turned off a Bulls game that early in a game since the Jim Boylan era. But I had just about had it with this group and their lackluster starts. But I figured, well, let's hang around a bit because this is kind of the Bulls' MO. Play like garbage to start off the game, but somehow find their way back into it, going on some crazy run, but then always coming up short and unable to close the game. Basically the exact script of what we saw in the last two games against Orlando. And sure enough, the Bulls kept chipping away at it, and it wasn't like in the Magic games because the Bulls were still well behind these guys, even into the fourth quarter against the Magic, I should say. But the Bulls somehow managed to bring it within 2 points in this one in the second quarter, and you just couldn't help but laugh. Like, this team just makes no sense. Their offense is weird. They don't fit well together. Billy Donovan doesn't know what the hell he's doing half the time. They start off the game so badly and make things harder for them, harder than they need to be, where they're always trying to climb uphill throughout the game. And look, there was no doubt in my mind that the Bulls were going to lose this one by one possession when going into the fourth quarter. I even tweeted that. It was all but confirmed to me. We just knew this team too well. But no, finally, the Bulls played well down the stretch. They stayed focused, they played great defense, forcing turnovers by the Heat, and then they finally closed out a game for the win. And look, I know some fans are going to say, I'm sure they're already saying on Twitter now, this was a disaster because the Bulls need to keep losing. What are they even doing? They're only delaying the inevitable, which is blowing it up and rebuilding, losing as many games as possible, and trying to secure a top draft pick. That's fine if you feel that way, but I'm never going to cheer for this team to lose. So you're welcome to watch something else if you'd rather hear a content creator talking about how it's awful the Bulls won tonight. Now, I'm still going to be excited when I see this team win. I still want this team to win. I've been wanting to see this team win ever since I was a little kid and saw them win their last championship. Like, deep down, even though, yes, I want this roster to be overhauled, I want Billy Donovan to be fired, even though he won't be fired because his new contract just started, but deep down, I still somehow want this to work. I know it's not going to work, so that's why the rational side of me knows they need to just call it a day on this crew, but the irrational side of me wants to see them figure this out and actually be competitive. See if they can somehow get back to what they were, what we saw before Lonzo Ball got hurt. It's not going to happen, I know, but part of me still clings on to that. So anyway, if it annoys you that I get excited seeing this team win, more power to you. You can always go watch something else, but as a diehard fan myself, I always want to see this team win. And man, what a needed win this was. I mean, the Bulls going down 4-10 on the season. They would have had another game against the Heat on Monday, and also just coming out and having the start that they had yet again, but to then come back and potentially lose it again, like they did against the Orlando Magic twice, that would have been demoralizing for this team. A team that is already a bit disengaged, frustrated, checked out. To have that happen a third time, yeah, that's it, season over. But after finally coming back and closing it out, really doing the improbable when you think about the fact that they didn't have a single field goal for the first 7 minutes of the game, which they said on the broadcast was the first time that's happened since 1999. First time since 1999 without having a field goal that long going into the game. To be down 22-1 and they come back and win this. That in and of itself is incredible, but also the fact that they now can believe in themselves to get back and close out a game. And it being one of the better teams in the league was on a 7-game winning streak, the Miami Heat. Now, to be fair, the Bulls should never find themselves in a position where they have to be digging their way out of a hole like that in every game. They need to just be starting games off stronger, coming out focused, attacking the basket like they do in the fourth quarter, not putting up lazy shots, bad contested shots, and playing better defense. Like, there is no excuse for the Bulls to have these terrible starts, especially when they've been playing all of these games in front of their hometown fans. There's no excuse. Like, yes, we can talk about how it's great that they're resilient and able to shake off big deficits and not let it deter them, but you should never find yourselves in that situation to begin with. And if you didn't, you would have had the last two games being wins against Orlando. And I would have been able to see the Bulls actually win a game in person, not that I'm salty or anything. Anyway, for this game, you gotta hand it to Zach Lavine again, who yet again came through in the clutch, hitting 2 big threes to really boost the momentum for the Bulls in this team. Even when the Heat would respond with a 3 of their own, he came right back and knocked one down himself. For the most part, he had a quiet night for him. Outside of those, 2 big threes, 13 points, 5 for 10, 3 for 7 from 3. Didn't get to the foul line once in this game, but he also contributed in other ways. 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Only 1 turnover as well for Zach, despite playing 35 minutes. Just a solid outing for him and impacting the court in more ways than just his scoring. And I'll also say that I thought Zach's defense was better tonight as well. He was willing to put his body in the way of his opponent, was hustling back on the other end of the floor after a turnover. That was great to see. I guess he's trying to make a case for himself for Miami to make a move for him. And then DeMar DeRozan, who led all scorers for the Bulls, 23 points, another clutch fourth quarter, 12 points in that quarter alone for DeMar, getting some big shots. He was 6 for 12 in this one, 2 for 4 from 3, got to the free throw line a lot, although he was oddly missing a lot of free throws. And then Vucevic, 15 points, 7 rebounds. He struggles against Bam. Bam is not a good matchup for him because Bam is so long, athletic, and mobile. He's a nightmare for a guy like Vucevic to guard. And I was shocked the Heat didn't just keep going back to him, especially after he outworked Vuce in the first half. But overall, decent game for Vucevic. And then Coby White, 14 points, also hit some big threes to bring the Bulls back into the game in the second quarter. Alex Caruso, 11 points, again, still feeling it from behind the arc. But I mean, this is what you want to see. Balanced scoring, all starters in double digits, balanced usage and shot attempts. Zach only took 10 shots, DeMar 12 shots, Vucevic 14, Coby 13. I mean, the days of seeing DeMar and Zach combine for 40 to 45 shot attempts for the Bulls was always a recipe for disaster. The hero ball mentality and the your turn, my turn approach has killed the Bulls in so many games. And when you're sharing the ball, distributing, good things happen. They weren't doing that in the first quarter, and it got them into some really big trouble. Also, did the Bulls really take 45 threes in this game and hit 16 of them? 35%? 45 threes has to be a season high, and I'm curious when the last time was when they actually shot more than 45 threes in a given game. I actually tweeted this just a little bit ago, so let me know if you actually know the answer. But winning the three-point battle, always a good recipe to win a game. The Heat only had 12 threes to the Bulls 16. Bulls also outworked the Heat on the glass, grabbing 10 more rebounds than they did and doubling the number of offensive rebounds, which is impressive considering Bam is one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. The Bulls have been surprisingly good on the offensive glass this year for a team that was one of the worst last season, but what's weird is they're now dead last in defensive rebounds in the NBA, a stark contrast from last season. So who even knows with this team anymore, what they're trying to do and what makes sense? Nothing makes sense out of anything of this team. But anyway, all in all, I'll take this win. I don't care what anyone says. Who knows, maybe this will somehow be that spark that gets the Bulls to turn a corner. I doubt it, but we can always dream. Anyway, Bulls face off against the Miami Heat yet again on Monday. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.